Now, I'm going to sit here before you, and I'm going to tell you that that's what the Course in Miracles is. Or it is no thing. Okay? That's the direction that we want you to take with this statement of the Course. What else does this say? That you're afraid of it. That somewhere within you, and this is in the context of the Course, you're very fearful of the idea of total authority. This is the act of faith. The simple question would be, if there's a total authority, why wouldn't it be loving and beautiful? What is your concern about letting God be? Obviously, you're very concerned about it. Okay. Why is it that something that you don't know about is a threat to you, is the way Jesus would say it. Here's where many of you have progressed to. Many have discovered that being frightened to death of A Course in Miracles is a perfectly natural and necessary beginning of the metamorphosis of self-awareness. As the transformation to whole mind progresses, they discover in happy amazement that they've really been dead all along and are only being frightened to life. For indeed, it was death that they treasured and life that they feared. Ready? Welcome home. That's kind of nice stuff, isn't it? Who wrote that? Some of you new whole minds that begin to express yourself in the illumination of your mind, okay, where you're not nuts anymore, will be surprised how you'll begin to take the Course in Miracles. I don't know how many of you read Chapter 1 last night. Chapter 1 is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. It's so incredible, it's totally beyond anything you could ever believe. You don't believe it. It's the whole method in which it came in is totally and absolutely impossible and beyond belief. That's why it's a miracle. If you can structure it in your own mind, it does not then require what? The transformation of your perceptual mind to see that it's true. All you're going to do is what? Deny the miracle. I'm going to put onto here one of the problems that you guys have faced. Because with this new association of thought energy, all right, you are going to be more ready to make the declarations of Jesus Christ. That is the declaration that death is impossible. All right? Here it is. You must face your fear of an uncompromising spiritual commitment. This is well contained within the Course. The descriptions of your determination to find this in your spirit and how you will be attacked by your own perceptual realities about this, and how you will use your perceptual realities, apparent realities, to deny your own reality. And you'll use all of the defense mechanisms that you have constructed in your perceptual limited time associations to keep you from going through this process. That's what you've been doing. What's happened to you now? You're losing your fear. You are finding authentication through the miracle of your own mind in the reassociation of the dedication of the wholeness of this spiritual commitment. Okay. You have found a church of full endeavor, a purpose for life, a purpose for existence, a purpose for being here, a reality of you. It's exciting. You must face your fear of an uncompromising spiritual commitment. You must finally deal with the inevitable disbelief, derision, denial, and attack that eventually confront your uncompromising assertion of the impossibility of death. You are not going to be allowed to teach eternal life here. And if you think you are, try it. Fortunately, eternity is true. Fortunately, reality is on your side. Fortunately, the direction of the Course is to subjective reality, with the declaration that you are only confronting yourself in the association with the necessity for you to deny yourself. Herein is your relief from the necessity of your defense of your associate formulations. This is the teachings of Jesus Christ in the Sermon on the Mount, flat out. The uncompromising assertion that if you resist evil, you will be resisting something that is apparently outside of yourself, that can confront you separate from your own whole mind associations, and that you cannot know that until you forgive. That is, until you literally lay down your own perceptual associations. All right? Now, when you feel the incredible freedom of an unqualified commitment to a single truth, you'll laugh at the absurd, self-constructed obstacles that have kept you from your own enlightenment. And that's a fact. You could care less what anyone else says to you. What do you care? Is there someone here that's going to determine for you perceptually what God really is and what you have to do to find that? That'll be just crazy. You'll have no intention of doing that. Where are we now? We are at the admission of the necessity for the transformation of your mind using the mechanisms of your mind in the relinquishment of the necessity for you to predetermine who you are. Okay, this is the Course in Miracles. It's a very simple statement that evil and truth or wholeness and separation cannot exist. One is not so. Either you are perfect, holy in heaven, or you are what? No thing. Literally, the demand of the perceptual mind is that you see that this is no thing. That it what? That it has no source. That it comes from nowhere. Those of you who have undergone these recent experiences of a search for who you are, okay, have questioned, and search you must, as Jesus says, you came here trying to figure out who you are, have reached the conclusion that you can't know, yet you apparently do. You don't know where you came from, you don't know how you got here, you don't know who you are, and you wonder why you're in fear about it. Okay. I want to deal with the reasonableness of the Course for just another moment before I get into Chapter 1, because I know this doesn't seem possible, but because of the religious vernacular nature of the Course in Miracles, there are a lot of so-called rational, eclectic minds, that is, Socratic minds, that can't get past the vernacular to see the wholeness of what this teaches. This is what I want your minds to do. You're not going to be caught up in the doctrinal necessity for the historic definition of Jesus Christ. This is not what we're concerned about. Our declaration to you, as you are observing in your own enlightenment, is that cause and effect are not apart. All right. When I say Jesus Christ wrote the Course in Miracles, that has absolutely nothing to do, and I know you're aware of this, with what your perceptual observation of Jesus Christ is historically. It has nothing. Why? Your perceptions are false. Jesus Christ wrote the Course in Miracles because he says so. You somehow want to work in the hyperbole association of relative truth. That's absurd. The Course in Miracles is true. The cause of it's true and the effect of it's true. All right? Now, here's the problem with that from what you would call a religious standpoint. This is the great debate of singularity. This is the statement of theology that man must involve himself. This is the Aquinas statement. This is the statement that it's always fought over in theology, that the perceptual mind must involve itself with its own salvation. It's a statement that God knows about this, okay, and is participating in the event of the resurrection. Okay, that's established Christianity. Okay, it deals with the necessity to associate good and evil. Quite literally. You must deal with the premise that the things that you love, okay, which are true and whole to you, die, get sick and old and die, through the authentication of the earth in association with a true God. Okay. Now, a true statement is the antithesis of that. The Course in Miracles, or the statement of Jesus Christ resurrected, is that earth and heaven have nothing to do at all with each other, that your kingdom is not of the earth, that you're not from here, that this has nothing at all to do with reality. Now, here's what you run into, and I want this on the tape, so that the theologians can study their own resistance to this. Listen. All religious philosophies must be deemed heretical, that is, denied in a church relationship that does not include the continuing necessity for the participation of man in his own salvation. Okay? In other words, if Jesus Christ just says to you, if you'll believe me, you'll be in heaven, which is a statement of absolute truth, that has to be denied by established religion. And it is denied. I broke that down for you so you could see it. Listen to me. This is why the heretics were burned at the stake. I'm going to let you see this, because it'll be very evident to you why this is not tolerated in the establishment of the earth, is it? Listen. All religious philosophies must be deemed heretical that does not include the continuing necessity for the participation of man in his own salvation, the denial and relinquishment of all establishment, and surrender of self as a requisite for eternal peace and happiness will always affront the human being's love-death relationship. Indeed, it will often be deemed blasphemy to the so-called religious community. In a temporal society, it is attacked as totally impractical and a dangerous threat to social order. This is nice stuff. That's a fact. That's what this is. Okay? Where is the social order? In your mind, in time, and that's what you're coming to know. Okay. Those of you who are going to be doing the course for the first time, I want to give you a definition of guilt. Okay? Jesus probably uses the word guilt more than virtually any other word in the course. I'm going to define guilt for you so you won't have the idea that somehow guilt is associated with acts of sinfulness. That's not what guilt is. Guilt is actually, I'll define it and then I'll read it, the idea that you can think separately from God. That's guilt, isn't it? Guilt is nothing then but what? Responsibility for your own thoughts. Perception is inherently guilty of its misconstructions, isn't it? I'm going to read it to you. It must be understood that when we speak of guilt, we are speaking of it in its absolutely inevitable sense, not guilt in the sense of regret or wrong or the committing of sinful acts. The human mind suffers from the guilt of associated ideas. Perceptual mind is inevitably responsible for itself. Guilt is only and totally the assumption of the responsibility of identity through conceptual thought, or as Jesus says, the attempted usurping of the kingdom of God. Guilt is the distance between cause and effect. Time is a chance to feel guilty. Guilt is time. Guilt is judgment. Judgment is guilt. Both are an assault on the whole and deny the single reality. Have you got that? So what you really share then is a perceptual what? Denial of God, a denial of the whole truth. Isn't this nice to put this on the tape? Say yes. Yeah. Well, what do the Course in Miracles do groups? I don't know what they're going to do. I'm really not concerned because this is going to open up a whole new avenue for discussions of what the Course in Miracles is.